Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hi and welcome. Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. My name is Kim Schafer and I'll be your hostess today. I'm the inventor and founder of the Ring Thing, a patented waterproof ring holder. I'm a first-time entrepreneur and inventor, and I'm really enjoying this next chapter of life. This show is focused on persistence, the quality of persistence, and the payoffs that brings. And there are many of them across our personal lives as well as our work lives. There are great stories about people who are very successful at what they do and yet put in a lot of extra effort, like LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Steph Curry. They're known for staying after practice and putting in that extra effort to really stay at the top of their game. The author of the Harry Potter books, she was turned down by 12 publishers until she found someone who was willing to publish her book, but she didn't give up. And then there are also stories of people with modest talent who are really successful because they didn't give up. So I'm very interested in exploring this topic and learning from people who embody this quality and learn from them about their hows and their whys. I'm thrilled and honored to have my first guest on this topic as being Chad Yarvitz. And Chad is the founder and president of Xplicit Fitness, LLC, located in San Diego, California. His club has been home to thousands of locals looking for a great workout and supportive community since 2010. Chad is a former professional boxer and California Golden Glove champion. He is a fitness educator, digital on-demand trainer, content developer, model, and master instructor for major brands such as Matrix Fitness, Johnson Health Tech North America, TREO, and Vision Fitness. Chad is also a patented inventor of a fitness device and certified personal trainer through NASM. So welcome, Chad.
Thank you, Kim.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to have you here. Thank you. I feel like you embody all of these qualities of persistence and sticking with it and making your goals happen and your dreams come true. So I'm really excited to talk more and learn about your journey and what you've learned along the way. So we've known each other for just over 10 years, I think, and I was a member at Xplicit Fitness, and you introduced me to boxing and a wonderful fitness program. And I also learned about the great environment that you create, and the help that you give to so many people. And I'm just really grateful, and I've admired your journey as you've developed as a fitness expert, a trainer, an entrepreneur, and an inventor. So I'm looking forward to talking more about it.
Well, thanks, Kim. Yeah, I can't believe it's been a decade already. I'm reminded of how much older I'm getting, and out of my prime I am day to day. So thanks for that reminder today.
Yeah, no problem. So.
Well, it's been great to see you grow as well, and I'm honored to have this opportunity to talk with you on the show. And you've supported me since day one. You've been part of the lifeblood of Xplicit Fitness to make this local small business remain successful through a lot of hard times, including the shutdowns and COVID and so on. So thank you. And I'm stoked to be here to talk with you today.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. I'd love to start by just hearing about what your journey has been. Like, where did your professional career start? How did it start? What has that path been, and where are you now?
Yeah, I think a good place to start is to say how I identify with being a mediocre person that's made quite a bit happen in my life, because very average. I'm average height, average athletic talent, average intelligence, I'd say, if I'm lucky on a good day with a lot of coffee in my system. So really my success has been nothing but consistency, discipline, stubbornness, and persistence. And, my start in the fitness industry began in high school. I was playing sports. I played football and dabbled in martial arts. And I was training some of my friends how to lift heavy weights and do some athletic stuff, because I had learned that from my father and through my years of sports. And as much as I tried to get away from the fitness industry multiple times in my life and pursue standard education and go that route of normal college life, I was always pulled back to athletics and fitness, and ended up making a career out of it. So, I started in 2006 officially getting certified as an NASM certified trainer, and it's just taken off. Since then, it's been very consistent. We've had a lot of ups and downs, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's been an incredible experience for me.
Yeah. Well, the only point I might argue with is I would not describe you as mediocre or average. So that's my only, but thank you for that. And, along the way, I'm sure that you have run into a number of challenges. You mentioned that COVID was a huge challenge and you made your way through that. And so when you look back on your career so far, and I know it's still growing and continuing, but when you look back so far, what are some of those pressure moments when you had to really decide about, I'm going to push through this and persevere? And what was your thought process with that? And what did you have to dig into to come up and make it through those moments?
I think that's a great question. It's part of what we preach as the culture of Xplicit Fitness, and in my life coaching, and even raising my daughter. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and these are all lessons that have been passed down. Really, it started with my father back when I was playing Pop Warner football. Again, I was an average kid. I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't the biggest, and I wanted to quit multiple times. And he would always remind me that you're a lot better than you think you are, and quitting isn't going to make you feel any better. In the moment, you're going to have satisfaction of being able to have power and control over something that is hurting you, and you feel like you want to enact revenge or be in control of the situation and escape. But in the long run, it's not the solution for peace, joy, and happiness. Perseverance and being able to get through the hard times and be able to come out on the other side to say that I didn't quit. And eventually, if you want to leave on your own terms, that's a different story. But quitting in the moment has never been an option for me. And that's something that has been instilled in me since those days in Pop Warner football with my dad. And it carried through in my education. As a kid in school, I was not the most studious. All of my friends were very smart. They were all in the GATE program. I have multiple memories of trying to keep up with them. And I don't know if I had ADD at the time or something of the sort. We never got diagnosed, but I really had a tough time in school. And so I always felt like I was trying to keep up, and it all came down to not quitting. And it came down to just memorizing the formulas for math and getting through the next test and get through the next day, because you're close to the end of the year. And if you just get through this year, you only got a couple more until junior high, so on and so forth. So it's getting through the day that I was on in order to get to the next day, to make something happen, to reach that next milestone. So really putting one foot in front of the other, especially with the hard times, with my lack of ability and lack of what I would say standard intelligence with education and whatnot. And that's carried on through my businesses. I've had multiple businesses. Some of them have failed. This one that I'm sitting at right now, my beautiful fitness space, has been very successful. My real estate business is successful. You as an inventor, as well how arduous it is to get a patent in the United States. And that was something that took a lot of perseverance and failures along the way, and people telling you no, and people saying that this might not work, but having the audacity and the stubbornness to put one foot in front of the other and not give up until you reach some kind of success.
Those are great points. I appreciate that. And a question I have is, you've had thousands of people come through Xplicit Fitness and through your work. And as you've grown and learned more about your own inner strength and that perseverance, how has that changed how you train and coach other people?
Kim, I've gotten my butt kicked a lot, physically, emotionally, spiritually. that was probably one of the biggest ongoing lessons in the boxing ring when I was competing as a fighter, is I would have to fight the same person who kicked my butt on Monday. I'd have to go in on Tuesday and face that same individual, knowing that I did not have the skill set at that point to overcome the opponent. And so being literally not forced, it was, I chose to do it, but being put in a situation where I had to face someone who was going to beat me and I knew they were going to beat me ahead of time changed my perspective on how to look at things. It killed the ego, and it forced me to accept things as they are and really focus on the weaknesses at that moment that I had to work on, not get distracted by the little things in life that really at the end of the day don't matter. Because for me in the boxing ring, it was a matter of life and death. If I did not increase my skill set and I didn't become more fit and I didn't learn the skills of the sport, I was going to get hurt and or killed or have brain damage. It really was that serious of a situation. So it's very dramatic, but I take those same lessons that I learned in the ring, and that's what I've applied to my businesses to make them successful. But this is what I preach to my clients, to my friends, to my family, and anyone I work with, is that you're going to get your butt kicked by life on a daily basis, and you're going to face those same problems day in and day out. And you have a choice to lay down and quit and continue to get your butt kicked, or you can level up, study, increase your fitness, increase your nutrition, increase your approach, and dedicate yourself to becoming better one step at a time every day until you eventually will overcome those challenges. And that's kind of the overall 30,000 foot view of how I approach all of our, whether it's from staff to my club manager, all the way down to my personal training clients. And again, like I said, these are the lessons that I teach to my 10-year-old daughter as well.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, lucky her, she's really benefiting from all of these lessons. And how, like for me, for example, when I come across a hard moment, sometimes my self-talk can at least start off really negative, and I can go easily down a rabbit hole in my own head before anything else has happened. And I'm curious to know what your self-talk is in those moments for you.
That's a really good and important question at this phase for me in my life, Kim, because I was pretty self-deprecating for quite a long time. And, in the boxing game, it was no room for error. So a lot of it was, get it together, expletive in my head. And I would have a lot of negative self-talk in order to help motivate myself to do better. And in the moment, at that time, at that age, it worked to an extent. But over years and years, especially coming out of the ring and changing my life, negative self-talk and a lack of kindness to self is somewhat of a cancer, and it is somewhat of a disease that is going to affect you in a negative way in the long run. I've gone through a lot of spiritual change. I've gone through a lot of meditation practice, a lot of therapy, and a lot of actual medicinal, psychedelic, and plant medicine ceremonies in the past decade. And there was one very significant ayahuasca ceremony, a 3-day ceremony I did last year, where it was a very tough 3 days, some of the toughest 3 days of my life, really facing the inner issues that I had been ignoring or not aware of for a long time. And at the end of the 3 days, when my butt was kicked and I was ready to go home, the final very clear lesson from the plant medicine was that I needed to practice kindness to self, because if I could master that, then love would enter my life on a more consistent basis. I could be more kind to other people, and kindness attracts kindness, and it would change my energy and everything around me and impact my life in a positive way from that point forward. And it's been almost 2 years now, and it's been proven to be true in my life. So very, very impactful time in my life.
So interesting. Well, congratulations. I mean, that's a really important breakthrough to have, and the fact that it's lasted, because sometimes we can have a moment, we can have an event and we feel like we're going to be different or change, but it kind of then we go back to our regular life and it goes away. And so the fact that it has stuck with you and really impacted you, I think is really significant. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thanks. I think it comes down to integration. It's like, you can have a life-changing moment. You can have a life-changing experience in therapy, on psychedelics, in a therapy session with your significant other. But if you don't go home and integrate and apply the principles of that lesson and use them as tools to help change you on a normal basis and practice that with discipline, then, eventually that lesson is going to fade and you'll end up back into your dysfunctional behavior patterns.
Yeah, it's true. The cycle continues. It's so true. Yes, and I also love your I've seen you on social media talk about your meditation practice, and that's become a really important element of that. Do you teach meditation at Xplicit Fitness now?
Yeah, I do. We hold meditation circles. We've done 2 so far. It's an emerging part of the brand. Back when I started the club, when you came around, I think you could attest to this too. It was hardcore fitness. It was hardcore training. Be the best athlete you can be, and we're going to push and grind and push our bodies to the limit. And there still is a great benefit to high intensity training. There's plenty of science and research behind it. But in my growth, spiritually, and understanding the psychological component, and that the mental and physical are equal portions of a healthy mind and body, that has become more part of the Xplicit Fitness brand. And so meditation, like experiences on a medicinal basis, plant medicine, all of that stuff has really become ingrained with the brand. And it's something that has grown along with my own growth. And it's really exciting to be sharing that with the community, because a time like now after COVID, with the political, distress that the whole country's under with these elections and everything, I think people get lost in that sense. And there's a lot of mental anguish, and it's just as important as being physically fit.
Yeah, it's really true. So that's so interesting. So really the Xplicit Fitness brand is becoming much more holistic. I mean, really addressing wellness from every angle. And yeah, I think that's great. So one of the questions I was thinking about in preparing for this is that you've helped so many people, thousands, and you've seen people when they come to the club. I mean, they're there and talking to you about their fitness journey, but as you're saying, also as things become more holistic, people are sharing about their personal lives and things that are, for all of us, we have these moments, and we've kind of been talking about this as well, where you're faced with a decision and you can give up on your goal or your dream, or you can choose to persist and work your way through it and continue on. And as you reflect on all of the different people that you've worked with, are there any particular factors that come to your mind that influence which way someone's going to go on that decision tree?
That's a really interesting question. It's very deep, and it is one of the hardest nuts to crack, for example, right? When we look on Instagram, social media, and you see these short commercials or advertisements, it's buy this product and fix your life. Here's this detox tea. Here's a wrap to help you lose fat. Here's a 30-day cleanse that's going to fix you forever. And over the course of the last 15 years or more that I've been doing this, almost 20 years, the ones that make the biggest lasting improvements are the ones that finally surrender to the fact that there's a lot more going on than simply their dietary habits. There's something much deeper than the stress levels that they have at work, or their genetics that they want to blame their high body fat percentage on. And 9 times out of 10, there's something psychologically going on. I don't want to say it's as far as mental illness, but there's mental distress to a level that affects someone as a ripple effect all across their entire life. Their cortisol levels are up because they're in a high fight or flight state, a catabolic state. They're getting poor sleep. Their eating habits are bad. Their interpersonal relationships, their relationship with self is not a healthy one. And so all of these factors put together are a compounding effect that affects your nutrition. It affects the way you look, feel, and perform, your body fat percentage, so on and so forth. And when people finally heal from the trauma, get the therapy they need, surrender to the fact that they have been fooling themselves and lying to themselves about a lot of things, that's when I see a transformation that lasts. And I see that they stop the yo-yo. They become healthy. The tone of their skin changes. The tone of their voice changes. That's when I really see people transform for the better, is when they surrender to the fact that there's a lot more going on than they want to admit.
Yeah. Oh, that's very interesting. And is it challenging for you to be able to see that, and maybe the person themselves doesn't see that, and you can help, you can give the information, you can give the guidance, but maybe they're not ready to take that on yet. And how do you sort of internally say, I've done what I can do. This isn't my decision to make. And have you had times when it's been harder to sort of step back and let someone go on their own path, or how do you handle that?
Sure. And that is a challenge. You know, I want to help everyone, and can't help everyone. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And I see people that have this exponential potential, and they're right there, and they're so close to making some changes, but they have these hiccups, or they have these holdups, or these blockages that they're just unwilling to give up at that time. And as you know, if you're talking to someone with addiction, with a lot of these people, it is addiction, and it's not necessarily alcohol or drugs, it's food. You know, 75% of our U.S. population is overweight. Over 43% of the U.S. population is obese. This is an addiction issue, and it's not necessarily the person's fault. Our whole food system is designed to have us addicted. So is our medical system. And you see people struggling with this, but they can't see it. And there's only so much I can do to bring them to the light. And I will continue to try. And I'm always there to be supportive. And 10% of our clientele, it clicks, and they come to me with this revelation, or they had a life-changing experience, or they might have experienced a death, something that shakes the core of their foundation. And that's what keeps me going. That's what makes this business successful and makes me continue to want to show up to work every day, is when I see those people that find it, and then they want the help, and they're open to the help, and then we can change their life.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. So what is your self-care like? Do you go like once a year or a couple times a year on a retreat, or how do you keep yourself energized and fresh for this work?
Fitness has always been my number one. You know, as a kid growing up in a tough household, my parents both loved me, but they were like mixing oil and vinegar. It didn't go together. I resulted to sports, and so fitness has always been the lead for me. Anytime I'm feeling off, I get a good hard workout. Anytime I'm feeling stressed, it's a hard workout. Anytime I feel great, I celebrate with a hard workout, and it just keeps everything in line. It keeps your hormone system, your endocrine system, everything functioning on an optimal level. Obviously, staying hydrated. Meditation has become a huge part of my life. I never thought I would be so granola, but meditation is a beautiful thing, and so I practice it multiple times per week. Reading is huge for me. Obviously, spending time with the people that I love. Sitting in silence, I like to find solitude and be alone, to sit with my thoughts and sit with self, and avoid the distractions of either having to cater to other people, support my gym family or my real family, and sometimes just be selfish with my time. And as I mentioned before, some plant medicine work throughout the year has really been significant for me, both in micro doses and occasional macro doses. Definitely not in a sense where I use and abuse it to where it's no longer a tool. That's where you have to be careful with that stuff. And what's interesting about that is I used to self-soothe with alcohol, sex, too much fitness. Even fighting at a certain point became an addiction to me. So what's interesting about quote unquote drugs or plant medicine or psychedelics is that even though they're drugs, they have steered me away from and shine the light on the other bad behavior patterns that I was falling back into, the addiction cycle, which included all those substances and behaviors that I no longer really partake in much. I only drink a few times a year now, which is huge for me because I kind of identified with it for a long time.
Wow. Good. Well, it's great. I mean, it's incredible growth. And also thank you for sharing that. You know, it's you're going to help other people by talking about your experience. And so what do you, and I realize like as an entrepreneur and inventor, there's only so much you can talk about your future plans because you don't want to give away everything, but is there anything you can share? Like, what are you persisting on right now? Like, what are you looking at for the future? And is there anything that you're just really like pushing yourself to like, I want to put all of my effort and go through this?
The formative years of Xplicit Fitness were a grind, and I worked a lot harder than I did smarter. And that goes with most of my life up until the last few years. And now having kind of transitioned into more of a growth mindset, more in a self-development mindset. You know, I've developed physically, I've developed the entrepreneur stuff. My career is in a good place. I feel good as a partner and a father. The more that I'm finding that I dive into the work on self and growing past my traumas and healing from my traumas, healing from TBI, that's automatically applying to the rest. The business is better. Real estate is better. These types of conversations with people that I love are happening. It's very surreal how things develop and things come into your life when you lead with love and you focus on healing yourself and putting yourself first to show up as the best human that you can be. So really, to answer your question, that's really the quest that I'm on now is these other things are doing well. And the more that I focus on myself and becoming the best man that I can be, which is a little bit better than I was yesterday, the more amazing things are going to continue to develop in my life. And so that's where I'm at.
Wow. Wow. That's really powerful and inspiring. Very inspiring. So you, your club is in San Diego, but you also you do online training and coaching. And what are the ways that people can connect with you from anywhere to talk with you more or work with you?
Yeah, on Instagram, we're very active on there. So our Instagram page is a great way. I'm in control of the page, and I answer all the DMs and make the posts and answer the chats and whatnot. So that's a really good way to get a hold of us. And yeah, I do offer online coaching. Personal training is starting to wean a little bit, but doing these types of coaching sessions are really important to me now. And then obviously we have our club in San Diego, and we're running some great Black Friday deals right now. So that's going to be on our page actually in the next few days. So anyone that's listening, if you're in the area, you come by for a free class, and we've got these amazing deals that you can jump on coming up. But I'm always also open to just talk to people. If someone needs someone to talk to and wants to get something off their chest, or they're interested in exploring plant medicine and they don't know where to start, or they're interested in meditation but they feel goofy, I want to talk and I want to help. And I'm not looking to charge money for that. I'm just looking to help people change their lives. And if it comes to be where we can have some form of a business relationship, then so be it. But if it just comes down to advice and me being able to help guide somebody, I mean, that's where the beautiful thing happens. So I'd love to offer that to anybody that's listening.
All right. That's great. All right. Super. Thank you. One of my, one of my purposes in having this show and the discussions is to also talk about what the payoff is from being persistent. And I feel like, you've shared some wonderful payoffs for you in terms of your business and in your personal life and spiritually and as a person. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about what you feel those payoffs have been from your own persistence?
Speaking of persistence, I came across a quote yesterday and just randomly popped up on my feed. And I'd like to share it because it really does explain and embody my path. And I think a lot of people it's going to resonate with. And this is from our 30th president, Calvin Coolidge. It goes, "Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, 'Press on,' has solved and will always solve the problems of the human race." And I couldn't sum it up any better myself, because I've lacked in all of those areas in my own life, but persistence has always been the thing that I'm good at. And it's gotten me to where I am today, and it's going to continue to drive me forward.
Oh, that's a great quote. That's a great quote and a perfect way to summarize and wrap up our session. I'm so grateful that you were here and that you took the time and that we've had this conversation. I think is really going to help other people, and it certainly has helped me. So thank you so much. And I encourage everyone to check out your Instagram page, your website, and connect if they would like to. I think you're offering some fantastic things. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kim. And I did see on the little thing on the bottom there, Xplicit Fitness, the Instagram page, there's just no E in front. It's at XPLICIT Fitness with no E. So just if people are trying to find us, just remove the E from the front and you'll find us. But thanks so much, Kim. I really appreciate your time today. This has been a great conversation.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right. Well, gosh, that was, I got a lot out of that conversation. So I hope that that you did as well. I think that was a wonderful quote that Chad read. very fitting. And the only other thing I'll add is a quote I came across from Confucius, which is, it does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. And so I would say for any of us, if we have a goal, if we're working on something, just keep going. As Chad said, some of his own success has been from putting one foot in front of the other and just taking that next step. So just keep going and don't stop. You can find me at ringthing.com or the Instagram page, ring_thing_, and feel free to reach out to me by email or DM. I'm happy to talk, and really appreciate everyone's time today. And also thank you to Dr. Jacqueline and to USA Global TV and Radio. Thank you so much.